We are live. We are alive. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. War, crypto. Everyone thinks it's the end. I think it's the beginning. Don't believe me? Well, I'm going to bring my friend, Michael Saylor, who just did a podcast with Jordan, where he talked about war, which is interesting because the podcast was recorded a long time ago, probably, and released only a couple days ago, before the conflict. Now, of course, we will go through the fog of war, right? A lot of developments, a lot of fast-moving stuff. We'll talk about it. Now, everyone thinks it's bad. It's bad. My personal opinion, it's like a 2-week thing, 10 days. And if it's not, it goes past that, well, okay, it's been nice knowing you. But I like 2 weeks, 10 days. Mainly because I think a lot of what we're seeing is theater. Now, even if that's all wrong, whatever happens when you have these type of super scary events, people start changing their mind about money. People start changing their mind about technology. So all this dead altcoins, all this dead technology, this whole everything is dead except Bitcoin, or everybody who's in stonks turns around and goes, I think I'm sick of getting diced in stonks. I'm going to go to Bitcoin. And you're like, Bill, I think you say that every day. I'm like, yeah, I do. But Michael Saylor just said it to Jordan Peterson, and I don't think anyone's picked it up yet. That's because the podcast is TLDR for most people, except extreme Michael Saylor nerds like me. I actually met the guy. It's really nice to hear him on Peterson be actually kind of candid, not talk like he was on CNBC. It was very refreshing. I'm going to be studying it for a while. I only got about 3/4 of the way through. So there's a very key point, and you're not going to want to miss it. So don't forget to hit the like button. Okay. I'm going to work on that. Tyler Hall, DH, Arendam, Blown Ideas, and Yav. Welcome. Ariana, Mr. Armax 65. Are we live yet? Yes, sir, we are. We are. Shreds, Your Bass Hurts, Miguel, Tango FN, Old Smoky, and Tooth. Ben from Down Under, only missing Alexandra and SGSG, and possibly Warmon. Welcome to the Crypto Abyss, the leaderboard, the few, the proud who remain. Okay, gee, what are we going to talk about today? We got anything to talk about? Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk about geopolitics, and we're going to start with the classic motto of the intelligence community, which is nothing is what it seems. That's one. Two, Sun Tzu. All war is about deception. All war is about deception. Hence this term that you will undoubtedly see everywhere called the fog of war. Now, let's go over a few things. Orange Man warns even more brutal attacks are coming without a nuclear deal. So according to our Secretary of State, we're not involved. Fascinating, as Mr. Spock would say. And Donnie T is telling everybody, I think you should negotiate. Really? Let's take a step back for a second. Okay. So we all know that, Party A says, you can build something, and Party A says, no, you can't. That's what we're doing here, right? Which is ridiculous, but okay. So one party doesn't want to negotiate. Now, who doesn't want to negotiate on, say, the Iranian side? Let's see if I can say that. Who doesn't want to negotiate? The guys in the military, because they want to fight, because they're patriotic Iranians. They want to fight. Okay. Intelligence officials. And then who else? Like, who are the important people that might be at the negotiating table? Well, how about the nuclear scientists? Right? So all of a sudden, I'm noticing, wait a minute. They didn't attack Iran. They knocked out like apartment buildings and residential areas. And they did so rather quickly. And one thing I noticed, and there is a point to this. One thing I noticed is that, it seems like the Iranians were really quick to confirm the kill list. Boom, boom, bombs drop. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Oh, Iranians say this roster of people just passed away. Let me ask you something. If all the important people in your business called in sick one day, you ran a publicly traded company, and all the important people called in sick and said, I'm not going to be in for a month, would you put that out on Twitter right away? Let me ask you something. Crazy. You want crazy? Let's go crazy. Think the Iranians gave them up? Think they said, okay, that's choice one. Because they did this with the Hezbollah people in Lebanon, right? Nobody was safe. Everybody got picked off wherever they happened to be sitting that particular day. So they know the Israelis are coming, yet all these guys done and confirmed right away. Fascinating. Now, on the other side, we'll say the Iranians didn't give them up. It's classic Donnie T. Remember, he was the pretty boy frontman for the Atlantic City Mafia. You don't want to negotiate? Okay, no problem. Everybody who doesn't want to negotiate, done. In your home with your family, probably. Nowhere to hide on the planet. All this stuff, we'll get to it in a minute, like the Israelis have the most lethal military ever. Maybe. Or maybe they know exactly where to go. Maybe they got AI. Maybe they get tipped off. Who knows? But Donnie T is like, you really should negotiate. You can negotiate or die at the dinner table. How about we negotiate? That sounds like Donnie T. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think the entire planet is assuming that everybody is going to go right to the nuclear button when they're trying to convince them to negotiate. After all, they had a 60-day deadline, right? They launched the attack in a full moon, a fully lit up sky, at like the 60th, 60 days in 1 minute. Full moon, Orange Man's birthday coming up. They just launched. And Orange Man knew about it. They said he didn't, and then they did, or whichever. Of course he knew about it. This was probably his idea. Let's get everyone to the table. They don't want to come to the table? Okay. Everyone's acting like this is the start of World War III. I'm acting like it's the start of the negotiations. The last negotiations were a joke. You go to the Iranians, you say, I think you should negotiate. They're like, no, we're not negotiating. You have no leverage. And we were like, okay. Now, of course, you could also go with the route that, that the guys in the blue and white are insane and they're warmongers. And yeah, you can go with that. That's also possible. But however, that cranks up the fear to the max. Now, that said, only right-wing influencers that really don't like the guys in blue and white. There's only one guy who called it. Honestly, I've been looking at it and going, wow, that's kind of crazy. I hope that doesn't happen with Bitcoin at 110 and boom. So we're all the wiser, right? We're not going to get shocked anymore, if this escalates. But all I'm saying is, if you look at this headline, Donnie T is telling you, hey, get to the table. Get to the table. Okay, so supposedly Israel attacked the nuclear sites. I was told the nuclear sites were underground. To me, it looks like they lit a whole bunch of fires at oil facilities to try to rile up the oil market, and the oil market didn't buy it. So I don't know what the damage to the nuclear facilities is. All I've seen is a picture of an apartment building down. All war is about deception. Blue and white disregards orange man with attack, says Doomberg. Right. Of course. New Jersey, Atlantic City, Italian mob tactics. Could have been his idea. Just saying. That doesn't mean it's going to work. So, everyone getting educated. Israel and Iran have been enemies for decades. Actually, these religious groups have been going at it a lot longer than that. Now, oil. Okay, so I went through this whole thing, and then I'll tell you why. So, oil didn't go to 100. So, if oil facilities were really in jeopardy, we'd be at 100. And, you know, there are guys saying that this is going to spread into the waterways. You know, everybody has got their World War III hat on and is assuming that this whole thing is going to just blow up and be insane. And that might be the case next week. However, it's in no one's interest. It's not in our interest, China's interest, the Iranians' interest, and it's definitely not in the blue and white's interest to have an oil market disruption and to have large powers involved outside of us. It's not even in their interest to have us involved. So oil didn't go to 100. Like Twitter, it's like, oh my God, World War III. It's the end of the world. Meanwhile, oil's at 70-something. And oil could go to 80. Okay. Goldman thinks oil could go to 120. Okay. Was that 100 after Ukraine? Whatever. If oil is not parabolic, it's not World War III. That's it. It's like you're looking at one chart. Now, S&P stunks. That's a whole other story. And I'm still going to tell you why I'm telling you all this. Okay, so once again, the UK paper says Israel is the smartest military in the world. So they have exploding pagers and they can find you anywhere. And frankly, you know, they look pretty smart. Not going to lie, right? Everyone's like, well, the Iranians are waking up this morning wondering. Really? The Iranians are stupid? They don't know about their capabilities by now? Okay. Top personnel sitting in their apartment, knowing they're coming. I don't know, man. Feels weird to me. It feels like they're trying to get everybody to the negotiating table with the best show possible. Okay, now before I get to this, I just want to make this point about Mike. So, in 10 words or less, without going through the whole podcast, I'm going to tell you now why I just made you listen to 15 minutes of war updates you may or may not have known about. Mike gets on Jordan Peterson and very simply says, old people do not adopt a new paradigm until there's a war. No one adopts a new paradigm until there's a war, right? In other words, old people just figure, well, you know, I'll do this later, or my kids will do it for me, or whatever. Now, his war moment was cough and cold, right? He saw what happened with cough and cold. His company was sitting on $500 million in cash. Rates went to zero. Inflation went to 5%, 10% unreported. And then he discovered Bitcoin and hasn't gotten off the subject. Okay. Now, in this interview, which again was created and aired way before this conflict, Mike said the way to get adoption from the masses that don't think they have to do it is war. Well, hello. We got it in Los Angeles, and now we got ourselves a big one, right? We got ourselves a dandy. So everyone's selling, everyone's out, everyone thinks it's World War III. It might be. Or Donnie T's trying to get everybody to the table. You know, I understand that's the counter theory is that, you know, the guys in the blue and white want to fight and they don't care who gets hurt with them. The same thing, right? Same theory on this side. The other theory is they're trying to get him to the table. Now, what would be best for crypto is you would have 2 weeks of the biggest scare you ever saw. Everyone goes, oh my God, the lights go out. You know, I don't know. You know, cyber, nuclear threats. Everyone's upset. And then all the old people and everybody goes, you know what? I'm sick of stonks. I'm going to the Bitcoin Ethereum ETF. I'm opening up Coinbase. Kids go, I'm done with this. the dollar, inflation, gas prices, who knows? I can't possibly tell you. All I know is when this is over, people are going to pick this up and they're going to hit the green button because that's what Mike said before it happened. And when has Mike been wrong about anything except when he bought the high in 2021? But he didn't panic. The guy has just believes it. And of course, all this guy does with his, like, I don't know, he's got like multiple degrees from MIT. I was like, oh, this guy's an irresponsible, crazy cowboy. Was in the Air Force. His father was in the Air Force. The Air Force paid him to go through MIT, but he's an idiot and doesn't know anything. The more fear you have in the next 2 weeks, the more Bitcoin adoption you're going to have. Now, hear me say that, and then you can listen to all the guys that wanted to get 50x short. They can trade it from the short side. That will probably work. I think it'll work better in stonks, personally, if you're going to go that route. But if you go that route and this comes to a sudden end, or Donnie T pulls something out of a hat, or people just stop, maybe because the Russians say so, who knows, you're going to have adoption very quickly. Because just like the thing in LA, just like the big, beautiful bill, people are going to look at this and go, you know what? This is all right. I got this from Creed, right? Bull. Yeah. People are just going to go, I'm done. I didn't make it up. Sounds like something I would make up. But when Michael Saylor says it on Jordan's podcast, better start paying attention. So Andrew says Nick was right about everything. Yo, man, this guy says a lot of very off-color stuff. This kid, he nailed it. He's had it the whole time. Said, the orange man was going to turn on everybody. You got ICE tackling people picking strawberries, and then that whole policy reversed. I mean, this is a theater for short dollar. It's a theater. Like the only person in the whole world that knows what's going on is some crazy 20-year-old. And he's not crazy. He is, but he's right on the money about this whole thing. So if he's right about how scary this is going to be, put it together. Okay. Nick has got the prediction, and Michael says if Nick is right, everyone goes to Bitcoin or crypto all at once during or after the conflict. Hello. Meanwhile, back at the Stonks Ranch, to say that they're all twisted up over there is an understatement. Even me, I'm like, well, they're twisted up. It's in a range. It's all over the place. And I don't think my narrative has been coherent. It probably is in a range, right? Commodity trading advisors, which is like professional momentum investors. Okay. So everyone in, everyone out, everyone back in again, and then everyone out again. They're all, it's like, it's just a simple term is P&L destruction, right? And you had a rare opportunity to get out. Hopefully you took it. And you know what? People in stonks might be like, you know what? I'm out. I'm done with this. I could not ride this back down here. There's ignore the noise from Charles Schwab. And then there's like, peace out. I'm done. You guys want to go do this? You guys want to go end of the world? Bye. Just go on Schwab and market sell everything. Combined with the fact, and I did get this sort of right, not right away, but right as this thing started turning, I was like, when they're paying $100 million for AI scientists and OpenAI is still trying to raise money, they're not profitable. When you have that kind of FOMO, like Amazon buys a nuclear plant, $100 million a year, or $100 million pay packages, when you see that kind of FOMO, that was a top. I said it. I said it a couple times. I didn't say it loud enough. That was a top. Not for us. Well, for us, we get dragged along with it. But the problem is over there, particularly if you have a sticky oil issue. 4 Republicans voted against the Doge cuts. Somebody must have pictures of them. I don't know. Unfair tax laws are making Bitcoin and digital asset payments difficult. Now, you're like, who cares? Wait, hold on. Remember how I'm always saying that somebody needs to help Cynthia other than Michael Saylor? Somebody needs to help Cynthia. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Riding to the rescue. My homie, Mike Novogratz. I wish he was my homie. My billionaire twin, Mike Novogratz from the hedge fund Galaxy Digital, recently gone public, by the way. Recently gone in the U.S. Not in Canada, in the U.S. Now, Mike is known for like sparkly sport jackets and tattoos and hats. And gee, Mike, you're looking very traditional there. Saying Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz says Bitcoin could go to $1 million and be just like gold. And I'm like, hey, Mike, nice message. Not exactly original. Who are you beaming that out to? Oh, wait a minute. You mean he's beaming it out to all the old people that he wants to buy his stock and Bitcoin, which of course he owns in spades? Don't believe me? Cynthia's getting some help. Look at Mike. Look at this. This is not Novogratz attire. What's up with that? I mean, I have more style points than he does in that outfit. It's like, Mike, what are you doing? You doing a little gardening? Raking the leaves? What are you doing? Mowing the lawn? No, he's on CNBC trying to get all the people that Michael Saylor's talking about buying his stock and buying crypto. It's called onboarding boomers who are about to get the daylight scared out of them again. So you're like, I hate the market. I don't want to play anymore. I'm done. I hate all this. Everybody, all the ETF buying, everyone's buying everything except my bags. I understand you're upset. But this to me feels like the greatest setup ever. Like the longer they scare you, the longer they scare everybody, frankly, the more violent it's going to be when it turns around. So you guys want to scare me for a day? All right. You want to scare me for a week? Okay. You want to go like full crazy and give me 2 weeks of pure fear? Awesome. Where's Bitcoin going to go? 97? Who knows? Who cares? Right? As long as you can hold on and you're not some levered dimwit, right? You could stand down there at the zenith of fear and just take it all. That's what's going to happen here. Michael Saylor dropping it on Jordan Peterson. No duh, man. You know, we're going to be good. This is like a Bitcoin encyclopedia, because it's not just about Bitcoin. It's about him as an engineer, as a history. It's unbelievable. Forget about it. Anyone who listens to this is just going to go, oh my God, I'm going to buy it at 100. They're going to be like him. You listen to this. I'm going to buy it at 104, 94, 84, 64, 44, and 4. You take it down to $4. I'll be on the bid after you listen to this. I'm serious. Okay, so Mike did make a little bit of a top. Mike issued his own paper and then bought it personally. Okay, but, you know, Bitcoin-backed fixed income market. So I said that they should make a yield curve. They should issue bonds in Bitcoin. He did preferred stock instead. But, you know, essentially, he has created a Bitcoin bond market. So I was screaming for it, and he was actually doing it. Meanwhile, back at the Hopium Crypto Ranch, Bitcoin is bouncing back. It's at 105. It's going parabolic. We got a lot of hopium out there on crypto Twitter, man. They're scared. Of course they are. Right. And most likely, traders are now going to come in and start selling bounces. Now, of course, I would want them to get destroyed because it would be unbelievably funny if Donnie T gets everyone to the negotiating table for the Godfather's birthday. Maybe the deal is you can go do what you need to do and scare everybody and make a credible threat, but for my birthday, you get to the negotiating table. Now, would that catch everyone off guard if we had like a weekend reversal on this thing with everyone shorting it? I'm just saying, I'm trying to make predictions. I'm trying to get you to see that nothing is what it seems. In other words, no one has said, and I will say it, no one has said the Iranians will blow up a bunch of empty buildings, it'll be done, and that's it. No one has said that. That yesterday was it. Now, if you want the argument for that, Bitcoin did come back and oil's not at 100. If it was World War III, oil would be at 100. Now, that doesn't mean it won't be there in 3 days. I'm just not, But who has said last night was it? Nobody. It's unthinkable. Donnie T's birthday coming up. We'll see. Because they got this big U.S. military parade. We ran, we had random social disorder around the big, beautiful bill. And now we're randomly having a giant military parade around what everyone thinks World War III is. It's amazing. How did they do all that? Come on. How much bologna can we eat? Really? Okay, so yeah, the dollar's trading well. We need a dollar devaluation, right? The experience in the foreign exchange market needs to mirror what's going on in reality. Michael Saylor talks about how his house in Miami, I don't know, did he say his house in Miami in 1930 was $1,000 and now it's $100 million? Or something like that. It was 100,000. Now it's 100 million. And then I know everyone's like, okay, Grandpa's going to get the dollar index chart out now, and he's going to give us the lecture. Okay. But now I don't have to give the lecture. I don't have to lecture, right? This is the DXY quarterly chart, right? I was like, the dollar's down. No, it's not. This is down, right? 1985. Everyone says the dollar should go lower. Okay. .com bust, dollar. Now they want the dollar down. It just won't go down. So, okay, what do we have to do? Humiliate ourselves, embarrass ourselves, create a geopolitical crisis, create a multi-tiered crisis. What do we have to do to get rate cuts? What do we have to do to get the dollar lower? They want it lower. That's what no one understands. Then when it breaks down, they're going to go, oh, well, this is the third great dollar devaluation. That's what Doomberg will say. We've been on this for months. But again, we didn't participate. Yeah, we didn't do anything. Not involved. Okay. So, Bitcoin short update. Somebody teasing this PSYOP guy, James Nguyen. Look at me. I shorted the top. So we have shorts taking a victory lap. Good trade for them. I admit it. Okay. I admit it. Something else I saw that I thought was very interesting, which again is being completely ignored. Circle launched a stablecoin on XRP Ledger, which is interesting because XRP is their biggest competitor other than Tether, I would think, in terms of like brand name. So Circle launches on XRP Ledger instead of trying to make their own layer one, which is interesting, right? Now, as this person is saying, it's easier to launch on a new layer one than to force the liquidity, the institutional players, and RWA issuers to go on another blockchain. So they kind of said, we're not going to make our own layer one, or that's what the XRP people are saying. We'll just launch on XRP Ledger. And guess what? Circle just validated Ripple. And this person is saying Ripple wins regardless. Their stable coin gets, kind of like joint PR with Circle. And they put XRP Ledger on the map. What is it? Is there a reason to be on XRP Ledger? Well, now there is. You can do Circle or USDC. Interesting, don't you think? I think it's interesting. Now, just in case you think this whole thing is not some kind of giant psyop, right? Social media not letting you talk about it. Not at all. These are pretty clean. Hey, it's the end of the world. Actually, it's not. 200 views overnight. Nothing. This thing has been shut down, which leads me to believe, again, are you going to believe every single thing you hear? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Okay. So back to Ethereum. So the way this works is, in 10 words or less, you got to go to low time frames. Okay? Because what we're trying to figure out is if the thing is a bottom, does it stay a bottom, or do you get these failed rallies? A lot of times you have to go to the tactical charts. So on one hand, this puke right into support at 2,400. Really, all they did was unwind the FOMO. We don't know how much more there is. If you look at the daily chart of ETH, and I did note this, right? This 13 top, that's kind of no bueno, right? Like, you don't want to see this thing turn around and start making new lows. And the only reason that would happen is because of stonks. The stonks people are just like, I'm done. So on one hand, they're going to need an additional catalyst. I was on the air doing something else. It looks like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern is when they're going to do everything. It's theater. So they're going to get you programmed to have everything going off for like the 8 p.m. evening news cycle on the East Coast. So LA's off work, East Coast going to work. Okay, guys, launch everything. You have to raise the possibility it could be part theater. Just giving you stuff to look out for. If oil's not at 100, you keep the theater light on. If oil's not at 100, I'm saying if oil's at 100, you have a separate issue, separate live stream, separate set of preparations. Oil's not at 100, you keep the theater light on. Okay, so Bitcoin, unless they can get it above 105.5, like this DeMark line, then people are probably going to be hedging the Bitcoin ETF positions. And they're going to be selling Bitcoin futures, right? Everyone's got a hedge now. Everyone's afraid. That's a guess. Now, if they blow through 105, great. We had a one-day event. But it's not a one-day event until they prove it on the charts, period. Okay? So Bitcoin, the good news is there's a lot of support at 102, just like there's a bunch of support in ETH at 2,400. I don't think people want to sell. I don't. I don't think anyone in crypto is like, oh, yeah, man, I'm out. Done with this. It's really more like people are irritated. Like, wow, really? This looked like full-on Bitcoin pause alt season in gear, ETH outperforming, and then boom. Brutal. But the market's done this before, right? And it's continuing to do it to you. One guy says, I got no money to buy the dip. Everybody knows this is going up. So they're going to make you wait. Like in 2020 and 2021, only crypto savvy people who had seen the prior ICO season knew it was going up. Everybody else is like, wow, what's this Bitcoin thing? Hey, what's Ethereum? Hey, is that an NFT? What's DeFi? Uniswap? MetaMask? I don't know what any of that stuff is. Well, they learned quick after it mooned, but it wasn't like today where everybody knows what everything is. Everybody knows what it all is. Everyone's all along. Everyone's waiting for it to go up. Why aren't my bags moving? It was an education issue the first time, last cycle. This is a patience issue, and they just continue to wait you out, push you out, force you out. Okay, so we do not want to see continuation. A reversal here would be glorious. If you look at this DeMark work, like if there was a reversal here to the upside, that would be glorious. If this rally fails, oh man, bad. Not good. Period. I'm just saying. All the bear market stuff is now in effect. You do not want to see failed rallies. Like down and maybe basing, okay. But you do not want to see, okay, like that tweet. Okay, yeah, let's go. Not if you get the failed rally. And again, if they're doing all this stuff at 8 p.m. every night, it's going to start to affect market behavior. Algos will adjust to this. They will adjust if you're going to have engineered news flow. Now, all that said, very interesting that XRP got dropped down to 208. A lot of this stuff got dropped back down to the June 5th low. I mean, can you tell that this is World War III just by looking at it? You're like, oh my God, yeah, that was the end. I mean, you might look at this and go, huh, wow, XRP went all the way down and came all the way back. That doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's early in the day, but I mean, let's play a game. Let's show this to a kindergartner. Say, point to World War III. What's World War III? They would have thought April, the tariffs, was World War III. This is what they did on tariffs, which is just completely stupid. So stupid. And this is what we're doing on World War III. So either Nick is right and no one's taking this seriously, and he could be right. He's been right. Right? So if people are not taking this seriously, it's going a lot lower. Okay? But even if it does go a lot lower, what did Michael Saylor tell you? Okay, so we can look at charts until we're blue in the face, and then we'll go for a coffee break and then go for an early lunch and come back, and the whole thing could be scrambled eggs. It's just done, changed. When this is up, it's going up hard. Okay. In order to do that, we're going to have to scare everybody. So either they're going to have to do something that scares you, or we're going to have to sit with the uncertainty, which actually probably it could be more bearish than something actually happening. Also, our final reminder, all war is about deception. Nothing is what it seems. And Michael Saylor went to MIT. Stay strong. We'll see you tomorrow.